Your civilizations have learned from other civilizations that made contact with Earth many decades ago. And technologies had been replicated and co-created and given to the human race. Now, everything you see on your sky, space, and light ships are coming from these civilizations. The contact that has been made by other civilizations with planet Earth was for exchange.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back. So, recently I've been exploring the idea of contact. Do you know that over 50% of people believe that we're not alone in this world? But what if contact has already been made? What if it's already happened and we just don't know how to recognize it? In this episode, I sit down with world renowned channeler Livia Devi and we explore what real contact might look like. So if you're excited about these topics, I highly suggest you watch this video because it is mind-blowing. It's wild. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to share, and let's get into it. Today I have with me my good friend Livia, who is joining us from South Florida. It's very rare that she's on the East Coast. She's always traveling the world. So Livia, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm so happy being here with you once again.
Yeah, for those that have not seen the first episode, I'll link it in the bottom of in the description, so that way you guys can take a look at that. It kind of goes over. I don't know if we went over the basics, but we definitely had a great conversation. So what have you been up to recently? I feel like the world is accelerating. You being in the United States, you see the acceleration firsthand. So just tell us, like, where are you at in your work today?
Yes, so my work today is very much focused this year in 2025 around helping entrepreneurs and, thought leaders, conscious creators, people that are, shifting from where they are to where they want to be, into stepping more into their soul mission and leadership. And I have been traveling to United States. This is, a place where I always anchor my divine soul mission and divine service, and I'm fully guided to be here and travel in different parts and meet with people, community. And my mission this year is focused into activating more new earth leaders and quantum leaders, and people that are fifth dimensional visionaries, and people that are ready to take the lead into their communities, and to really be able to anchor higher frequencies of light into their countries, continents, wherever where they are placed in the world. And I'm super excited about that, because I feel like 2025 is a year where everything is accelerating in terms of our becoming. So, the way we shift our consciousness in time and space is becoming more accelerated, and this is like calling us to step more into taking action in physical reality. If in the previous years we have explored our consciousness and spirituality, and we were more at the elemental, like basic levels of the intro levels of what spirituality is, I feel like now we are more and more, as people are awakening and are evolving so fast, and they are accelerating so fast, are more of them are ready to actually take action and anchor in physical reality, all these concepts, to embody themselves even more. And I'm excited about that, because the earth and this planet needs embodied leadership, like people that are able to walk their talk and go to the next level of their expansion and take others with them, like to be able to ignite that fire within the hearts of so many, and to be able to inspire others into fully living in authenticity, and fully leading, and fully being themselves in their authentic expression. My teachings and what we are doing with the 7th Arcturian Council of Light is always empowering individual to take the lead, because we had been programmed in the third dimensional realms to actually not take the lead and follow. We had been programmed to follow our governments and the everything that that is presented within the structure of society. Now, as we are shifting and a collective consciousness is evolving, people are, they are inspired and, like to take the lead of they like to lead their families, their communities, their nation, to become this inspiration and to be at the forefront, to pioneer, to not be afraid to pioneer timelines for humanity. It's pioneering is part of who we are, and bringing innovation and evolution and merging these two together brings like such a clarity on the path. So this is what I'm doing this year in 2025, and I'm very excited about this, the energetics of this year.
I'm ready to go deep in this conversation, so I may ask you some questions you haven't been asked before, just because I'm very curious. And I hope you feel free to answer them in any way that you feel called to answer them. But I really want to get like on a personal level with you, like one on one. So when we talk about taking our power back and being of discernment, I do have a question regarding, someone who trans channels, was essentially allowing them to use this vessel for their consciousness. Now, how is that not giving your power away, right? So when we talk about people that give their power away to different entities or different groups or associations, maybe even religions, right? Like when you surrender to something, how is that like a not doing that essentially? Does that make sense?
It does. And I love this question because it's so, crucial for as many people are opening up their consciousness. They start connecting with different consciousnesses, entities, soul families, star families. So then how do you discern what you are channeling through and what you are letting in, and how you are not disempowering yourself and give your power away to that other consciousness, right? And I feel like this is a very good question, because I am a trans channel for the 70 Arcturian Council of Light, and we are co-creating, my divine mission together on planet Earth, as I'm co-creating with them. So in my journey, and I will speak from my own experience, is that, firstly, you need to understand very well, who you are connecting to. And this is a journey that you take with, the consciousness, the Council of Light, the star family you are starting to have communications with. And when I connected with the 70 Arcturian Council of Light, I was just not, I didn't fall in my knees and I said, oh my God, this higher civilization that is more evolved than us is speaking with me and I have to completely surrender to them. No, actually, I will start questioning them. It's like, who are you guys? Why are you connecting with me? Like what is this? Because I always used to be a very grounded, practical person. I used to, I worked before 15 years in corporate America. So I was myself. I kept asking the questions which are, very direct and very critical. And it's important to have a critical thinking, when you are opening up your channel to other civilizations. So I start asking questions like, who are you? Why are you here? Why are you connecting to me? What's your intention? What's your agenda? And we start to develop a friendship the way I would develop a friendship with a physical being. When you meet a person, you are not just opening yourself instantly to that person. You start to actually know that your friend, because before becomes a friend, the person is an acquaintance, and you are developing a relationship. And this is what I've done with the Arcturian Council of Light. I start developing a relationship with them and asking them, why are they connecting to me? And it's so interesting, because the first thing that in my spiritual journey is like, was also to dissolve the integrate the ego that was afraid, but the ego that wanted even more, because when I was in the corporate world, I was driven by the third dimensional values, which are power, money, fame, and public validation. And when I was trained by the 12D Sirius Council of Light, one of the most important things that they have done with me in my training is to understand my ego and to let that go, integrate it in my physical body, understand it that when I will be ready to become a trans channel for the 70 Arcturian Council of Light, is going to be a co-creation, equality, and equanimity. Because my ego, I would, through my ego, I would have placed the Arcturian Council on a pedestal, and they didn't want that. They said that they always said to me, "We are not superior than you are. Actually, we are here in equality and equanimity with you. The only difference that you cannot see us through your physical senses in the interdimensional space, but we are here with you. We are here in this space. We are equal." And this is how I was able to actually develop a trustworthy relationship with them. Like I felt that I can trust them, and they proved to me that they I was always testing them. We were kind of testing each other to see how this how this relationship is gonna go. So we developed a relationship of trust over time, and then when I felt ready, I said, okay, and also I was able to to discern. Discernment is very important. It's very important. Not everything that is, not every civilization that you are hearing in your mind or your channel is actually good for you. Is also, you have to tune in and see, how is this going to serve you? Because how you are going to serve others, but how is going to serve you? How is going to serve your physical body, your energetic body, your light bodies? How is going to serve your evolution, your ascension? So when you tune in and you see that, like the frequency, the consciousness, the co-creation that you are accepting is actually enhancing your life, is elevating you, is helping you at so many levels, then it's a good friendship, it's a good co-creation, it's something valuable that you'd like to grow into your life. So I feel like, just to answer back to your question, I didn't give my power away to the 70 Arcturian Council of Light because it was not a game of power. It was everything about equality and equanimity and a co-creation where no one is placed on a pedestal. And I'm saying this because this is a very good discernment, and another is like, what does it feel good into your body? Because there are people who channel and trans channels and then they don't feel good. The transmission is not good. Other people, when are receiving, doesn't feel good. So it's like, it's not about, it's not about being a channel. It's about being a conduit for light. You are a conduit, you are a vessel, you are an interface for light. So I think two things I want to point out, just to answer to your question. First is, don't place people or entities or anyone else on a pedestal. And second is discernment that comes through a higher level of awareness.
I love
That's it.
So I've had a couple meditations where, and I've said this maybe twice on previous episodes, where I am in a meditation and I get to that point where I hear like a small voice, not like I hear it, but like, in my mind, it says, "Do not bow down to anyone or anything." And my human brain, who I think has evolved through this world, as a human being, we have evolved, through religion, through different stages of religion. And I think it's natural for us to want to worship something, because I think that's how we survived over all these years, thousands of years here on this planet. We have survived because of communal thinking and surrendering our powers to something greater than ourselves. So when I hear that, don't ever bow down to anyone, to me, I automatically okay, so who do I worship then? Right? Like there's a program that, like, I need to worship something greater than myself, so that way I receive the benefits or maybe blessings of something outside of myself, so I can survive and be successful. And God, I can't tell you, like, and there's another, like, you talk about discernment of like good. And I think where I have been recently is, I don't know if I can discern the energy as good, because it feels so powerful in my body. And like when I receive it, like it makes me want to it's hard for me to sit still. It's like very like electric, and I can feel like it's like a raw, pure, powerful energy. And I don't know if you can label that as good. Like, I don't know, good as far as what, like, working out and then having all the neurotransmitters in my brain kind of, released into my body and that feel good, like, or because this is a totally different energy that I've experienced, and it comes through meditation. It comes through when I am like really connecting what I think as my higher self, and like even right now I can feel it. Like I can feel it like start to build, and like I can feel the energy, and it's like almost like a rawness, like a primal, like I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Um, but is that good? And so I think people put labels on previous experiences as good and bad. So when they experience something that is totally outside of themselves, maybe like a non-human intelligence, they don't know how to label it because it can be so freaking like electric, and they automatically label it as bad, and it scares them, and they start, having fear, and they don't want to explore those sides of themselves. So I guess my question is, or from that rant, essentially is, have you come across like parts of yourself, the ego, where you're fearful of surrendering maybe a little bit more towards something outside of yourself? Why is it that I'm struggling with the idea of empowering myself more through this connection, not worshiping a god per se, but more so stepping into my inner power, and then what is that energy that I'm feeling? If you can, I don't know, maybe you've felt it for yourself where it's like, I don't know how else to describe it, but it feels like a very electric energy. Is that something that is necessarily a bad energy that we should stay away from? Or is that something that we should like really jump into to cultivate a stronger connection?
So the first question that I feel like, yourself and everyone should ask themselves is how this energy makes you feel. If you feel like empowered, then you feel like your heart consciousness is opening. If you feel like your field is expanding, if you feel like electric but energized, if you feel like, this gives you so much energy and vitality and this sense of power, then it's a good energy, right? Because you can use it and utilize and source it and create and, you know, do things with it, right? Energies that are not, in alignment with our consciousness in physical vessel is energies that are giving us like all sorts of dark thoughts that, that that are not in alignment, that are not love, everything that is fear. If you start to feel like fearful with all sorts of thoughts, if you start to feel drain into your body, start to feel fear in your physical body, in your solar plexus, if your stomach is like shrinking and you want to run away, then definitely that's not a good sign of, this is not a feeling good
Yeah.
energy. And this is like, this is the first step of discernment, when you are using your body intelligence to actually uh, navigate these energies, right? And create a communication, a connection with them. Because the next level of discernment is when you ask question to this energy, and even if you don't feel, if you don't hear in your mind an answer, you will feel it in your body, the answer. So it's like, start to communicate with these energies, like, what is your intention, and or are you from the light? That's the most important question to ask. And then you can feel, a yes or a no in your physical body, because your physical body is a technology and you can program it also. People are using muscle testing, yeah, which is actually a very good tool for people to start the discernment process. They are using muscle testing when they go and pick up food from the shop. If they don't want to look at the label and see if it's organic or not, they use muscle testing, and they know exactly, and they become so precise with muscle testing. But if you don't want to use your fingers to muscle test, or your hand, then you can use your body, or your body can become a pendulum and it moves. It's like, it's a yes or a no. That's the second level of communication. Then the more you are co-creating with this energy and you are expanding, the more you will be able to, your pineal gland, to translate into words and have a conversation with this energy. But when it comes, you never surrender if you don't know what you are surrendering to, until you reach a point when you have conversations with this energy that you are like, you know exactly it's coming from your higher self or star family, or it's an aspect of your consciousness, or is God source energy, because there are people that are channeling and embodying the frequency of God and source, then this is when you surrender, if you feel like this is what you need to do, and you spoke about worshiping, and how people for thousands of years actually they needed to worship something or someone in order for them to bridge with a non-physical existence, because or people are praying, for two reasons, and this is bad, but this is the reality. People are going to church and praying when they are in need, not to be grateful. Very percentage one of number of people, they go, it's like, I just go in the house of God and pray or say give my thanks and gratitude because that's my own nature. But many people are turning their face to God when they have problems, or they want more in their lives, or they want they want to shift something, or when they become old and this is the time to transition in non-physical. So because of that, because when we worship something, or when we are putting on a pedestal, we create a gap between us and that entity. For example, in this case, God, source consciousness. When we are praying to God, it's like God is here. God is the particle within you. You are the source expression of God. You are given all the beautiful abilities in this incarnation to be the conduit for God's source consciousness, which means you can create your realities, you can shift in time and space, you can tune in into so many elements of your life. Like, your life is not out of control. You can control it if you know how to relate to it. So God wants to teach you to be a mini God, or the God within you. Like, when you allow yourself to be God, then you understand everything in your life differently. People are afraid even of the concept of being God. They are afraid. It's like, oh, who am I to actually say it? People are even afraid to say I am God, because they believe they are coming from their ego. But actually, this is at the core of each particle and the subatomic level of our physical being. We are source particles, we are energy. So we are actually God source energy. But it's also about it's the fear-based consciousness, subconscious programming that had been infiltrated in our minds, and we had been programmed for thousands of years to look at things in our reality in differently. And this programming is coming from religion, and it's coming from control that is coming from the religion, in that way. So I'm advising people to create their own relationship with God, because God is in everything and everyone. Is in the ocean, in the sun, in the flowers, in the earth, in birds, in humans. In God is love. So when we are relating to God as everything that is, it's not only a symbol from the Bible, but is everything that is. And this is the new level of consciousness where we are heading towards, because this is how we are able to we can worship everything outside of us. That's God. We can worship the sun, we can worship the tree, we can worship a human, like whatever. We can worship everything outside of us, but the most important thing is to worship ourselves, because we are God. And when you are saying I want people wants to have something outside of themselves to worship, or to put on a pedestal. Why not put yourself on a pedestal? Because you are the center of the universe. Everything is restructuring every day around you and reconstructing. So you are that. So if you want to put something on a pedestal, just put yourself. Look at your life. Look how you get, you are being birthed on planet Earth. Look at your journey here. Look, like how much you have transformed and evolved. Look at how many events and situations you had to go through on your own and with God only. So it's like, put yourself on a pedestal and let the God shine out through you, because this is why we are here. We are vessels of light where God can radiate that love through us. And that's who we are.
I love it. I think Yeah, there's a couple of things I want to hit on. So the persona, you say put yourself on the pedestal. How do you not put the ego up there, right? Like, do you feel like we need to go through an ego kind of, I wouldn't say death, but maybe a shrinkage to allow a higher consciousness to come into our vessel to expand our consciousness and to give us the wisdom that we need to spread that light more? Or I guess, do we need to surrender the ego in order to receive more light, if that makes sense?
So the question is, who is the self? Because ego is not the self, you know? So who are we? When we say we put ourselves on a pedestal, ourself, like the self is not the ego. So in order to identify who we are, we need to let go of what the ego is telling us, because the ego is giving us identities and are telling us that, you know, you are this and your name is this and you are living here, and, you know, is giving you the timeline of your existence, and people are identifying with that reality, with their life. They are putting themselves title. I'm the CEOs of this company. I am, you know, whatever. I'm a star seed. They give themselves identity. But then it's like you have to go and ask yourself who you are. Let go of all this identity. This is what ego dissolution is, when you let go of all identities and all titles and status and labels and definitions, when you stop defining yourself, when you have no definition about who you are. This is when you are tapping into the self, not into the ego. And this is when you know the ego is dissolved within yourself, is becoming an integrated part, it's not an outside part anymore. And then you start this journey of like self-realization, self-discovery, self-actualization. Self-actualization means when you go inside yourself, into your heart consciousness, into connecting with your soul, and you like you are going through an actualization of your existence, when you are saying, okay, until now I thought that I'm this, and this, and I gave myself so many identities and titles, and now I'm just here and now, a pure source God particle that is interconnected with this massive field of consciousness, and I am just existing. I am here. I am a being. I'm not a doing thing. I am a being. So then you start to actually connect to the beingness. And when you are in the 0 point field, and you are connected to the, in and centered into your present now, this is when you become nothing. You become empty, an empty vessel of light. You are nothing. You have to become nothing in order to be everything. And when I say everything, is when you are becoming a pure empty vessel of light, then you are able to open up your heart consciousness to everything around you. And everything you see in your outside reality is you. A person, a tree, a flower, the wave of the ocean, the ray from the sun is you. So then you are able to actually experience that. That is you. You are able, your consciousness, to actually go and experience how it is to be a tree, how it is to be the ray of the sun, how it is to be a wave, how it is. This is everything. So you are becoming that, and you experience that, and in the same time you are holding your signature soul frequency here. And this is when people are actually bawling their eyes and crying, because this is when they experience that enlightenment. It's like, okay, I wanted to be this, and this. And when I let go of the whole identities, I plugged into the interconnectivity of consciousness. And I experience how a tree is moving its leaves into the wind. And I experience how it is to be this grain of sand. I experience, and this is how consciousness, and this is not a concept, this is how consciousness actually travel. And you are like, you shift, like you experience your environment, and you feel like the aliveness of it. And this is when you start to become conscious about the environment, because everything outside of you is alive, and you cannot cut trees anymore and kill animals anymore, because everything is alive and everything is you. So this is the interconnectivity of consciousness. So in order for you to, and this is when you put yourself on a pedestal, because you understand, oh my God, I am everything. I am the love. You put the love on a pedestal because this is who you are. And you know what's crazy? When we are transitioning in non-physical, we go into that space of interconnectivity that I just mentioned. But in this incarnation, we are meant to experience this through our physical senses in physical bodies, and to never to bridge with non-physical. To not be afraid of death anymore, because this is who we are, and we are experiencing the love that when we transition in non-physical, we start to be plugged in and connected with everything in physical form in this incarnation. And this is massive. It's really massive, because this is how you experience fifth dimensional consciousness, when everyone is able to plug into that grid of existence and everyone feels the same thing. And this is where telepathic communication is happening, and this is when we can bridge time-space realities. So yes, we have to put ourselves on a pedestal because we are that love. But indeed, the ego has to be dissolved, because it's not about the ego. And unfortunately, there are so many people that all their lives are like running after chasing titles, status, money, public validation. Let me have this certification, 1 million certifications. Like, forget about it. This is pointless. It's really pointless. This is why we are not here for that. And people forget why they're here. So there are humans that at the end of their life are able to experience for a blink of a second what I just mentioned. But we are here to experience that daily, and it's when we tap into the circular time and space, when 1 minute becomes infinite.
Like
And
right
it's
now.
like
For me.
now.
I was listening to another interview that you did, and you were talking about how the Arcturian Council of Light found, or maybe not them, but someone found you. Like they found you here on Earth, and that's when they started the training process. Like, people will hear that, and I'm sure there are others out there that want to be found. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, why did they find you? How did they find you? And how were they training you?
Yeah. So, when I incarnated on planet Earth, like when we decided, and I said we because I incarnated with 745,000 Arcturian souls. So we all jumped into the Earth. Like, let's just go there and have some fun. But when we incarnated, something very interesting happened. I don't know about the others, but for me, the agreement with the Arcturian Council was to actually jump in and incarnate, and to not have any tracking device or implants or any signature within my energetic field for me to reconnect with them. And the reason for that was for security reasons, because my mission on this planet, the Arcturian Council of Light, is huge. And, for the duration of, since I started doing this work since 2016, there were many interferences from dark alien civilizations and people that wanting to buy my channel and offering me huge amounts of money and so on to actually take me out from this path. So when I incarnated on planet Earth, I didn't have any signature for them to find me. So it was very interesting that the Syrian Council of Light always kept an eye on me over my lifetime. And when I was 18 years old, the Syrians tried to connect with me. And I had the same experience that I had at 33 years old, when at 18 years old, I woke up in the middle of the night, it was 2:00 in the morning, and I had like millions of people speaking in my head in the same time. And I went to my parents, and I remember I woke up my parents, and my father didn't want to wake up, but my mother was with me 2:00 in the morning. And my mom, I was screaming at her, but I was not able to hear her back because it was so loud in my head. I was only seeing her lips moving. And it was just for like maybe like half a minute. It was a very short time. But then I'm hearing my mom screaming back to me. It's like, and I was like, whoa, Mom, why are you screaming? It's like, I'm screaming at you, you're not hearing. So it was that moment. And then I felt back in my heart, I don't know what was going on with me. But I know that I was telling, I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. So at 18 years old, this episode happened, and I was not ready because I was in that time in Romania, and Romania was just, people were not awakened. There was no spirituality, there was no yoga, there was no consciousness. I would probably end up in a psychiatric institution. So when they came back on the 33 years old, they told me, even if you are not ready, we have to activate you. It's time, So, so, what happened is that the Sirius Council of Light, they were the first one that found me, in that way. Like, they were the ones that trained me. They were the ones that kept an eye on me over the years. And the 33, the Syrians activated me. And when they activated me, they were the first civilizations I connected to. After that episode, of like 6 months, when I tried to streamline those millions of voices, I was hearing the Sirius Council of Light, the Arcturian Council, my higher self, and my ego mind. And this is when the Acturians, I was witnessing a conversation between the Acturians and the Syrians, when the Acturians said to the Syrians, like, we are so grateful that you found her and you activated her, because it was a moment in time. If the Syrians wouldn't find me or connect with me or stay along me, I would not do this mission on planet Earth with the Arcturian Council of Light. So it was, many people are actually jumped with me, and many people are not activated yet. And my mission on this planet is, beyond activating light leaders, is to activate these 745,000 Arcturian souls that they need to get online, completely. So when people are actually coming on planet Earth, they don't remember their gifts, their missions, their what they are here to do. It's also important for them to follow their own path and to listen to their intuition. And for many, would not happen what happened to me, because for my process, it was very specific. But what I would recommend to everyone, to always listen to their own guidance and intuition, because one day, one time, it's even a physical or non-physical being will come into their lives and they will activate them.
How do you know? How do you know these beings, these physical beings, when they come into your life, right? That they're here to activate you. Like, how do you know it's them? Like, I just feel like I experience just normal human beings, but how do you know if they're meant to activate you?
Well, we have soul contracts on this planet. So whenever someone comes in your reality, there is an exchange that's happening, at the soul level. So sometimes these activations can happen through, romantic partnerships, business partnerships, even friendships. And sometimes people are magnetically pulled towards teachers and mentors. And this is how you know that you get activated, when you are letting yourself, listening to your own guidance and intuition, even if it's not making sense. And most of the time it's not making sense what's going on. And it sometimes can be like a huge thing, like, partnerships or romantic connections that, can bring a huge transformation, or business partnerships and so on. But the idea is that to always trust the process and to start to always zoom out from your reality, because sometimes people are like, oh my God, bad thing happened to me. And unfortunately, so many people are awakening through like crazy events and situations, like they are really pushed into the corner by the universe, and then they start opening up. And to always look at the bigger picture and zoom out from your reality, because what you believe that right now happened to you, actually in 2-3 months, you will see how it happened for you. So everything in your reality is bringing you to where you need to be, in alignment with your divine service.
So when you talk about transmitters and location devices, as far as like they didn't have any of that on you, so they couldn't find dark force couldn't find you. It seems like the Arcturians and the Sirius Councils of Light have a large influence on the humanity as a whole. Did they create us?
No, they didn't create us. Actually, the Sirius Council of Light has been a longer period of time with humanity, for maybe thousands of years, from the moments of when Lemuria was created. But the Arcturian Council and the Arcturian civilization, they're watching and observing. Hey, they didn't interfere with the evolution of human consciousness. In the past 200 or 300 years, the Arcturians started to stream more through different vessels of light, and Arcturian stars start incarnated on Earth. So until then, there were like emissaries and ambassadors, but they were observing a lot, and they were, you know how it is. It's like a civilization is being observed by other higher civilizations until they can make contact. And how the Arcturians actually made contact is not by parking their ship in front of the White House, but by just streaming through vessels of light. And for example, myself, I'm an Arcturian, part of the Arcturian consciousness. I incarnate on planet Earth, and I'm an expression of them, of the collective I'm part of. So this is how they make contact. They didn't create it as, there are many civilizations that has been created through the evolutionary process, and also, there is a higher consciousness at play here, which is far beyond
Sure.
the dimensions. Yes.
Well, it seems like, when you talk about there's 744 or 1,000 like Arcturians that reincarnated here, it seems like, because I was under the impression once you die from this reality, like you go into the non-physical and then you're kind of like in like different dimensions or realms. It seems like there's some type of civilization or type of I guess intelligences outside of into the non-physical. So like I was like, all right, well, what happens when we die? Then you go into the light. Do you go back to the all? Do you go back into whatever? Just listening to near-death experiences. But it seems like there's a civilization outside in the non-physical that is structured and intelligent. And if you guys are coordinating 700 and some thousand, consciousnesses to come back into this reality, it seems like, there is a larger complex system that is totally outside of my thought process.
Yes. So it is. And, it's like when we transition in non-physical, like, for example, people from the third dimension, like they are elevating through the dimensions of existence. And of course, you go back to God source consciousness, but then you are not going back into, you become a particle that is not aware of it. You are actually very aware. The way you are here, you are there. It's just the reason, like the only difference is like you don't have a body, but you are still having the awareness and the consciousness of who you are. So yeah, in the quantum field and non-physical streams of existence, there are non-physical councils of light, and non-physical civilizations like the Arcturian Council of Light that I trans-channel they are non-physical, they are omnipresent, and they are able to connect at once with multiple other civilizations, and they chose to be non-physical through their evolutionary process. But the way the Arcturians are, there are many other consciousnesses and councils and civilizations that are non-physical only, that they are not in physical form. And yes, when we die, like we are reconnecting back with our soul and star family, and we are able to actually in like travel. Our consciousness is travel effortlessly, and we don't have the body, unfortunately. There are many civilizations that are able from physical to transition in non-physical. So they are in physical form, and at will they move into non-physical, into their non-physical body. They travel with their consciousness, they come back and move in physical. So this is like they're bridging physical and for these people, like for this, like there is no death, there's only transition, of you shift your frequency, you become non-physical, and then you explore that space. So it's a very interesting field because it's just you can explore. And when we die, we are just not like going into the soup of existence and become like stardust, but we are continuing evolving in that space. Our evolution then never stops. We continue evolving, we are trained, we are going to other dimensions, we go into another, like there is a lot happening there. Of course, like if you choose not to, that's okay to consider. Some people, it's like, I work so hard in this life, I want when I die to rest, I don't want to go through trainings anymore.
Well, let me ask you this, right? So it sounds like you have a lot of knowledge, self-knowledge of who you are and like some of the larger aspects of the universe. How do you live here, like as Livia, right? Like, do you surrender to social norms, societal norms, like to get through. I think you have a relationship. I think you are in a marriage. Not to get too personal, but like, you look at the grand scheme of things, like different civilizations, it just seems like, what am I doing here? We talk about soul missions. Like, is it just to be like a human being in a marriage and living in society with a 9 to 5 and paying taxes? It seems like that is so like dense. And then there's this other aspect of us that wants to explore the you know, the entire universe and have like this grandiose experience. So like, do you have to surrender to, I guess, the character at times just to move through this space?
Well, I enjoy being in physical form, maybe more than any other being on planet Earth, because I'm able to see what's happening on physical, and then I'm able to fully live my life in physical form. And I think this is what I'm here for, to inspire other people to, and allow them and activate them to connect, to see what I see and experience what I'm experiencing on physical, to understand really the reason of our existence, and to live their life here on planet Earth, because this is amazing what's happening. To have this knowledge and experience in physical form is just like, it's something that non-physical civilizations, they want to experience, but they are not embodied. So for me to be embodied is just next level, of existence. And then yes, I do have a life, like any other normal human being. I'm not living on top of the mountain. I'm not living in a cave. I'm actually very much connected with physical beings. I love being in community. I have friends. I have my beloved husband, and I really enjoy life and being here and now. I'm not getting caught up into the, the mundane and the what's happening here, and the fear-based consciousness, separation consciousness. And I'm trying, to get more people into the same frequency and awareness and understanding. And, I would love everyone to see the world through my eyes. And that would be incredible. We can bring heaven on earth, because really, this is the timeline for it. Yes.
Well, I think people, like, even some of the recent books that I have been reading have emphasized the fact, like the Course in Miracles, for instance, like that is allegedly channeled by Yeshua or Jeshua, however you want to, pronounce his name, but saying that this is a dream, right? Like that everything is a dream, that I am dreaming all of this into existence. I've created all the characters in my life as teachers, and the ego essentially is, it curses the ego essentially and says it's bad, and it's tricked us to leave that God state and come here and create this reality for ourselves, because we believe that we are in separation. Like that's why we suffer essentially. What are your thoughts on that? Like this being a dream, that I'm dreaming this right now? Because I've had an experience where I was in a dream state, and it was a dark dream, and it was almost like a nightmare, and there was this entity that was feeding off of me. But then there was this realization of like, you need to love this being, because it is an aspect of you, like that is you essentially. And yeah, and I was like, oh, how, where at? And then I woke up right out of fear, but then. And I had another dream of a young girl that I was talking to, but I was being mean for whatever reason. I don't know who she was, but then there was this awareness of like, you need to be nicer to this person because it is an aspect of you. So, and I'm waking up and then realizing that I was a dream. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, everything is a hologram. Yes, things don't really exist the way we are experiencing it, but this is the beauty of being embodied, because we are able to actually experience physicality through physical senses. So like looking at things as being solid, and we are experiencing food and all these sensations, and but the reality of things is that nothing does exist the way we are experiencing. Everything is a hologram. Everything is our energetic frames of existence. So when you go back and look at the fabric of reality, everything is energy and mathematical equations, and flow of color and the field. So yes, things, you can call it a dream. I'm calling it a hologram because I like to interact with it in that way, and it's just an interface. Is real what we are experiencing? Yes, our emotions, the experience is real. Anything else is not real. This is why we are here. We embody in physical form to have experiences, soul experiences. So the soul is learning through this interface. It's like a holographic field where we are learning. of course, like people got caught up into the hologram and they start believing that it's real, which is a waste of time. But then, when you are actually looking at it through different lenses, you are able to interact with it and really make the best of your time here on planet Earth. So when you said, is everything predetermined and we have chosen characters and everything is an actor within the play that we are creating? Yes and no. And the reason I'm saying this is because, yes, we have chosen, where we are going to be born, our parents, different experiences, different soul contracts. But the beauty of this game that is called life is that we have free will. So we can shape and form the flow of it the way we want it. So it's not everything predetermined and we are just playing a game that we written, before incarnation is just a boring one. No, it's like you always have the power within you to change, shift, restructure through the choices that you are making. That's the most important part of it, So because you have free will. So it's like, oh, okay, I forgot who I am. I'm physical form. I'm playing this game, but I have free will. So through my choices, I'm going to choose differently and I'm going to create timelines. And this is another thing. We are creating timelines here. So every choice that we make is like creating an infinite stream of timelines. It's like branching here and branching there. And it's a nice interdimensional game, it's very expansive and it's unlimited of what we can create and the potential that we can explore in physical form. So it's more than a dream, because when we sleep, it's like, oh, it's just a dream. You cannot control everything in the dream, but actually you can control so many things in this reality. This is why we are saying we are co-creators. Yeah, so we are co-creating God's source energy and the holographic field our entire existence.
I love it. Are you still good on time? Can you still channel a little bit, or?
Yes, of
All right.
course.
And here we are, dear one. Council of Light from Arcturus, connecting to you in this time-space reality. We are pleased to be part of this conversation because your curiosity made us answer the call. So, dear beloved Trey, do you have any questions for us?
I do. I am very curious about the phenomena that has been taking place in our skies, especially on the East Coast, especially above my house, where there looks like there are like 3 orb plasmoid spherical stars that are pulsating in different colors. Can you give me any insight on what they are?
Indeed, these are fractions of plasma technology that is not from other civilizations, but is from your human civilization. You see, dear beloved one, your governments are testing different technologies for decades now. And they got to a point where they know how to manipulate time-space realities. And us, they play now with frequency technology. They created, as we say, a rift in the quantum field. So what you are experiencing in physical reality on your sky, it was not meant to be experienced, but your government doesn't know very well how to handle these technologies. So it's a little bit of control right now. These are not gonna shift your reality or affect your dwelling. And we are keeping an eye of what's going on and how far your civilization is taking this experiment, as we always intervened when was necessary to not ripple effect in your reality and affect the human race. As we know that you are still learning. Also, dear beloved ones, your civilizations have learned from other civilizations that made contact with Earth many decades ago. And technologies had been replicated and co-created and given to the human race. Now, everything you see on your sky as space and light ships are coming from these civilizations. And remember that your planet is still in a density where only dense civilizations can connect to. So don't be afraid of what you are observing on your sky. Stay sovereign. Because when you are going in fear consciousness, your reality is controlling you. You are not controlling your reality. And we are saying this, dear one, because indeed your governments are controlling collective realities. So when you are choosing and stay sovereign and in your power, you are choosing your reality. Nobody can control you.
Is some of the disclosure that has been taking place from some ex-military or ex-governmental officials, is that a part of the plan to weaponize the phenomena and to create a narrative, or to control the mass consciousness into believing something, or that these civilizations that we think that are outside of us are here to hurt us?
You see, dear beloved one, the contact that has been made by other civilizations with planet Earth was for exchange. We are not referring to non-physical civilization. We are referring to physical civilizations. Those civilizations that send representatives in physical form. They didn't came here to hurt humanity. They came for exchange and trade. Are they from the highest expression of light? They are not. But the narrative of what disclosure files had been shared so far, 50% is true, the other is not true, it's just a story. To keep humanity under control and to be easily directed where some interests are. So there is an entire predetermined plan that your leaders have. But the power stays with each and one of you, because you are more powerful than your leaders. And this is why we are helping humanity through vessels of light like Elva, that we are streaming now. And we are not streaming through a governmental person, because we knew and we saw for thousands of years how the leadership on your planet is trying to take entire humanity in their realities. They have their own plans for many, many thousands of years. And the enslavement and manipulation was there. So this is why humanity is awakening to see, to discern what is true of what is not, through love. And by awakening, you will not be able to be controlled and manipulated anymore. Some of the files that had been disclosed are not true. The narrative and the story is created to instigate fear and separation consciousness. We are excited because we had been recently invited to an event that is called the Alien event. We smiled a bit of the name. And this event is where we will make contact with all these person from military and peer researchers that are in disclosure phenomena. We felt it is gonna be a good, interesting co-creation. So Elva will be back in Los Angeles for this. And the reason we said yes to this invitation is to deconstruct through our transmission and frequency what is not real of what is real. Because even these groups of people that are presenting facts, they say, are disinforming the human race, or at least a percentage of the collective listening to them. And they go too far down the rabbit hole of understanding reality, to a point that they separated themselves of who they are. We will not be participating in other disclosure events in case someone is listening to us now and wants to invite us. The blueprint of this event will be replicated to all other events, so we don't need to attend so many. One is enough.
Will this be a physical manifestation, a representation of your civilization, or will you be channeling through Livia?
We will be transmitting through this vessel.
Who will be the first civilization that makes physical contact in this reality?
We are making contact right now.
Well,
Don't you think that we are physical as you can experience us? We know your question, we will answer it. So as we mentioned, physical contact already has been made by other lower than civilizations. But let's answer to this question differently. We'll give you 3 answers. The first contact with the human race has been made thousands of years ago in Lemuria. Now in this is our first answer. Now in this incarnation, the second answer. Contact already has been made by physical alien civilization, E.T. civilization. No, you can call them the way you want. We are only referring to the timeline of your incarnation, dear beloved Trey, and Elvas as well. Because contact is for thousands of years has been made. Now the third answer, the ones that you are looking for, is when higher civilizations of light, we will come in our spaceships and make contact with you physically. When Galactic Federation will come. Well, our spaceships are all over your planet. They are invisible indeed, but visible to the ones in higher consciousness. We, as a council of light, we are not physical, therefore we will not take physical form to make contact with you. We are making contact through Elva right now. Now, the level of co-creation that you want to experience with other civilizations requires your civilization to elevate your frequency, fully embodied in the 5th dimension. And the reason for that is because higher frequency civilizations cannot lower into the 3rd dimension. With other words, we cannot take physical form only to shake your hand. We bridge only where you are able to bridge with us. We meet you halfway. Elva is our halfway. And others on planet Earth that are pure channels of light from the Sirius civilization, from Andromeda civilization, from Pleiadian civilization, from Lyran civilization. It will come a time and space where we will be able to co-create. You will be able to see our non-physical expression. We will appear as in our non-physical bodies, but you need to be able to see us. We are always here, but you don't see us. So in order to bridge that, your consciousness needs to be embodied in physical vessel. The Pleiadian civilization are already making physical contact in physical form with your civilization. Not only through vessels of light and channelers, but they are walking this earth, observing you. We are excited as you are to co-create in non-physical and physical form. This is your new Earth 5th dimensional planets. We are saying planets as there are so many new Earth versions in the 5th dimension. So humanity is Now, at the higher levels of the third dimension, some of billions of people on your planet are not awakened yet, not even to the higher realms of the third dimension. So the fourth dimensional bridge is therefore hundreds and of thousands of humans right now. And this is where you get trained and entrained into elevating into higher level of awareness. And by doing so, we will bridge with you even more. Someone asked us in the past if you will experience this contact with our civilization and other civilizations in this incarnation. And our answer is some of you will experience this contact. The answer is yes.
Thank you for this. Thank you for taking the time, or thank you for meeting me here in this time and place.
We like to be here with you, to breathe with you. Breathe into your heart slowly. We are always here, dear beloved Trey. You can call us in your meditations. You can say, dear Arcturian Council of Light, join me in this meditation and we will be there, guiding you. For us, there is no time and space. When you make the time for us, we are there. And don't worry about the space. We are always taking care how much space we take. It was indeed a pleasure to co-create with you today. We have enjoyed your questions and this conversation. From the regions where we reside, we are sending you our love embrace. Feel it now. Namaste, dear one.
All right. I never know when I trans-channel, when I came back, in what position my body is. Sometimes I'm like this, So this was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. My heart's on fire for sure.
Amazing.
Well, Livia, this has been an amazing experience, amazing conversation. I really love having deep dive conversations with you. So let's point the people to where they can connect with you so they can have their own experience of that energy.
Yes, so everyone that feels magnetized to learn more and connect with me and the 70 Arcturian Council of Light, you guys can find us on Instagram, Arcturians Channeling, or Livia Devi, on my website, liviadevi.com. You can find me on Facebook, Livia Devi Global on TikTok. But if you just Google my name, Livia Devi, you will find all the resources there and different links and pathways to connect to us.
I know it's so hard to start, spit out all your handles and locations when you just come back into the body. But
I know,
again,
I cannot even think so much.
thank you so much for taking the time. This has been amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Trey. It's always a pleasure. And I'm so happy that, I came back into your show. I really love what you are doing and how you are holding the space. And thank you for having this conversation with the Arcturian Council as well.